One of the NFL's most well-known head coaches, John Gruden of the Las Vegas Raiders, is out of a job after a series of highly offensive emails were publicly disclosed by the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. William Brangham has the story.
Judy, these emails show Gruden repeatedly using racist, anti-gay, and misogynistic language. They date back to 2010, when Gruden was an analyst for ESPN. He rejoined the Raiders as head coach in 2018. As reported, Gruden was communicating with, among others, Bruce Allen, who was the one-time president of the Washington football team. In one exchange, Gruden used a racist stereotype to describe DeMaurice Smith, head of the NFL Players Association and who's black. Using an anti-gay slur, Gruden complained when in 2014, an NFL team drafted Michael Sam, the first openly gay player. Carl Nassib, who's the first active NFL player to come out as gay, plays for the Raiders, Gruden's former team. William C. Rhoden is a columnist for the sports media site The Undefeated. Bill Rhoden, great to have you back on the NewsHour. I wonder if you could just give me, what was your reaction when you first heard about this whole saga?
Yeah, William, I was surprised, not because I was surprised by what Gruden said and that he said it, but more that I know that he is very popular. People like him. He's kind of known in the business, guy's guy. And the owner likes him a lot. In fact, he gave him this unprecedented 10-year contract. And I know that he did not want to see him leave. So I thought that he was just going to try to run out the clock and play it out. But it just got too much. If it was just been DeMaurice Smith and the racism, maybe he could have walked with that. But you're calling the commissioner a slur. He checked every single box of bigotry and racism. And in this NFL, where they're talking about, diversity and inclusion, he just could not survive that. So I was surprised that they did it so quickly. I was not surprised at what he said.
In your column for The Undefeated, you wrote not just about Gruden, but about Grudenism and how this represents a much larger culture within the NFL. Well, what did you mean by that?
There are a lot of people. I mean, the NFL is very regressive, despite all the efforts of being, open. There are a lot of people who really agree with everything that Gruden said. They're not crazy about women becoming officials or anything in position of power. They're not crazy about athletes getting their voice. They don't say anything, but this is an attitude that's there. And I'm also really curious about these others. Going forward, who did he write these emails to? Who was on the receiving end? And what was their reaction? I really would hope the Players Association will force the NFL to give us more information. Who are these people? And what was their reaction? Because, Gruden was enabled. And I want to find out who these enablers were. It's one thing to get rid of Gruden, but when I refer to Grudenism, I'm talking about that sort of sensibility that he represents, which I feel is alive and well, not just in the NFL, but as we've seen the past few years throughout our country. So that's what's a little disturbing. I mean, he's gone, sort of like the nail is gone, but the hole is still there.
The NFL, as you pointed out, has decried these comments and has tried over the years to push what it argues are anti-racism efforts. From a management and a leadership perspective, what would you like to see the league do to make sure that this is more of an aberrant type of event?
Well, that's hard, William, because it's hard to legislate what's in somebody's heart. You can pass all the type of rules, but if you're homophobic, you're homophobic. If you're not crazy about women in position of power, that's what it is. I'm not sure what the NFL could do, except in this case, find out who were his enablers. Who are the people who he was writing to? Who are the people who were on the receiving end? Who are his sort of his guys, his clan? And also, by the way, let's get beyond having 3 or 4 black head coaches. Let's get more black executives, because actions speak louder than words. You can say all this stuff, but if you don't do business with black vendors, if you don't promote black executives, if you don't, that's really the tail of the tail. And this stuff with Gruden is sort of where the rubber hits the road. So I'm really interested in deeds, not just words.
These emails came out as part of an investigation into culture within the Washington football team. Do you think we're ever going to find out more about that? Because that seems to have sort of hit something of a dead end.
Yeah, I'd like to, and I think that's absolutely the point. It can't just stop here. And like I said, the Players Association wants to get more. And I know that there are probably a lot of people around the league who are holding their breaths because they want it to stop here, because no telling where this can go. Where there's smoke, there's a lot of fire. And like I said, it's easier just to get rid of Gruden and then let's call it off. I'd like this to be the beginning point. And I think that this will be a season like no other.
Bill Rhoden of The Undefeated, always good to see you. Thank you very much.
The pleasure is mine. Take care.